Good morning to all. My name is J. Priska Mary, APCSE from NPR College of Engineering and Technology. I handle the subject name is Object Oriented Programming and the subject name is CS8392. And in Object Oriented Programming, it is the core of Java subject. All the Java programs are at least some extent object oriented programs. OOP is so integral to Java. It is the best to understand the basic principles of Java programs. Object oriented programming concepts have 6. First one is abstraction, second one is encapsulation, polymorphism, and next one is inheritance. Object-oriented programming is an engineering approach for building software systems. It is based on the concepts of classes and objects that are used for modeling the real-world entities. Next one is object-oriented programming. It consists of a group of cooperating objects. Objects exchange the messages. Object means exchanging messages for the purpose of achieving a common objective. It is implemented in the object-oriented languages. And the next one is classes. What is class? A class is a prototype or as a real-world example or idea or blueprint of the creating object. Class is a prototype, otherwise idea, otherwise blueprint of creating object. What is object? An object is an instance of class. For example, in Java, we define a class, which is the term are used in the create objects. First we construct the object and then classes is a blueprint of object. A class has a constructor for creating objects. Class is composed of 3 things. First one is name, attributes, properties and methods. These are the properties. First is class. It is derived from objects. It consists of objects, class properties, methods and instance properties. What is object? It is an instance of a class. What is properties? Being a object, instance properties. Class properties being to the class. What is methods? Functions of the class. These are the basic principles of classes. Next one is an example. In this example, we clearly know about a class example. First one is account. Second, deposit account, current account. Easier relationship is easy example of classes. Deposit account is a account. Account has a properties of owner, attributes of owner, balance, account number, transaction log. Deposit account has a interest rate. Current account has a attributes of overdraft limit. That is the example of classes. What is object? A flower, tree, animal or student, desk, university, place, names. These are all the object. Software object model, real world object model or abstract concept. Example, dog, bicycle, queue. Real world objects have states and behaviors. There are 2 types of objects have. First one is states, second one is behaviors. Dog states are name, color, breed, hungry. Dog's behaviors are barking, fetching, sleeping. These are the 2 states of object. First one is states, second one is behaviors. Most formal definition of object is encapsulate some data. Object encapsulates some state. Is enabled to perform actions, methods and state. Communicate with the object via the message passing. What is classes? Classes provide the structure for object. Classes provide the structure for object, otherwise define their prototype. How to define? Classes define the set of attributes, behaviors. What are the attributes? It is also called as a state. It is represented by variables and properties. Dog is a state. That's attributes are their name, color, that's all. Behavior represented by the methods. But dog is a state. Their attributes of name, color, their behaviors are fetching, barking. These are the examples of classes and object. A class defines the methods and types of objects. These are the best example of clearly know about the classes. Account. Account is a class. Owner. Owner is a person. Person is a name. Amount. Second is a operations. What is the operations? Operations and methods are the equal. What are the operations? Suspend, deposit, withdrawal. These are the operations of the account. Owner, person, amount. These are the attributes of classes. These are the other example of classes. Next one is classes and objects. What is class? What is object? Account is a class and name itself represents a Peter account, Carl account, Ivan account. These are the objects of the class. That is the blueprint of object. Then the two objects convey the communication between the messages. What are the messages? What is the message in object-oriented programming? A request for an object to perform one of its operations. All communication between objects is done via the messages. Object P and object A communicate via only the messages. Next one is a object interaction. Object 1, object 2, object 3. These are the three objects that convey the communication between the objects thus via the messages. What are the contrast between the objects and classes? Class and object. Class is a data type. Object is an instance of class. These are the major definition in class and object. Class is a data type. Object is an instance of class. Then class generates the object. Object gives the life to class. Next one is does not occupy memory location. Class does not occupy the memory location. Object, it occupies a memory location. It cannot manipulate it because it is available in memory. That is class. It can be manipulated. Next one is interfaces. Messages define the interface to the object. Everything an object can do is represented by its message interface. Everything is an object can do is represented by only the message interface. The interfaces provide abstractions. An interface is a set of operations that given an object and perform. What are the principles of object-oriented programming? First one is inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. Inheritance is a class can extend another class. That is inheriting all its data members and methods. The child class can redefine some of the parent class members and methods. A class can implement an interface and implementing all the specified methods. Inheritance implements the is-a relationship between the objects. That is the inheritance. What are the terminologies are used in inheritance? Subclass or derived class, superclass or base class, subclass or derived class. Subclass or derived class extends superclass or base class. Subclass extends superclass. Class implements interface. These are the terminologies are used in a interface concept. In Java, subclass can extend only one superclass. A subinterface can extend one superinterface. These are the interfaces concepts in Java. Interfaces and abstract classes in Java. Abstract class can have a code for some of methods. Other methods are declared abstract and left with no code. An interface only lists methods but does not have any code. What are the benefits of inheritance? Inheritance plays a dual role. First one is a subclass reuses the code from the superclass. A subclass inherits the data type of the superclass. First one is reuses the code. Second one is inherits the data type. Class hierarchies. Inheritance leads to a hierarchy of classes and or interfaces in an application. These are the examples. Inheritance. An object of a class at the bottom of a hierarchy inherits all the methods of the classes above. It also inherits the data types of all the classes and interfaces the above. Allows reusing the library code and inheriting library data types. Abstraction means ignoring the irrelevant features and features functions and enhancing the related ones. Abstraction means the relevant informations, ignoring the irrelevant informations. Abstract data types are the data types defined by the set of operations. These are the examples are used in the abstraction. What is meant by encapsulation? Encapsulation means that all the data members of a class are declared as a private. Some methods may be private. The class inherits with the class only through the class constructors and public methods. Constructors and public methods of a class serve as an interface to the class client. What is the example of encapsulation? Data fields are private. Constructors and access methods are defined. Data fields are private only. Constructors and access methods are defined. These are the example of encapsulation. Methods and variables are encapsulated to the class. That is the example of encapsulation. Next one is a polymorphism. Poly means many of things. Ability to take more than one form. A class can use through its parent interface. A subclass may override the implementation of an operation. It inherits from a superclass. Polymorphism allows abstract operation to be defined and used. Abstract operations are defined in the base class interface and implemented in the subclasses. To perform abstract operations, to mix different related types in the same collection, to pass it to a method that expects a parameter of a more generic type, to declare a more generic field. These are the example of polymorphism. Abstract class, abstract action, overridden action, concrete class, overridden method. Polymorphism is already supported in Java. All you have to do is use properly. Polymorphism is implemented using a technique called late method binding. Exact method to call is determined to run time before performing the call. These are the polymorphism. Oops concepts have a first one is inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism. Inheritance means inherit all the methods. Abstraction means ignoring irrelevant features and methods. Abstraction is Java abstraction is achieved by the use of abstract classes and interfaces. Abstract data types are data types defined by the set of operations. Encapsulation means that all the data members finds of a class declared as private. Variables and methods are encapsulated to the class. These are the example of encapsulation. Polymorphism allows abstract operations to be defined and used. A class can be used through its parent class interface. These are the OOPS concepts. First one is class, second one is object. Class is a blueprint of object. Object is a real world examples that may be either subject, book, person, flower, maybe any of the real world examples. They are the objects. Classes have a blueprint of object. Thank you.